Hello, it's Jean with Kept in Stitches. It's Sunday, time for my week in review, where I share with you what's been going on behind the scenes in the Stitching Cottage. So, come on in, let me show you what progress I have made or haven't made this week. What shall we start with? Let's start with our round robin quilt challenge that has been going on. And I did complete the churn dash border or round, whichever you want to call it. That was round number 3 in the Heart in Hand Day Complete Round Robin Challenge Quilt. Quite a long name, but it is turning out awesome. Which you will remember, this courthouse steps with the wool applique and the saying that says, I cannot count my day complete till needle thread and fabric meet, is what we started with. And then this was the first round that was voted on, which it was a tie between Friendship Star and applique. So that is what I came up with that. And then this is the second round, which the vote was for the churn dash blocks. And these are 3 different sizes. I know they appear to look the same, but they're actually 3 different sizes. The corners are one size, the top and bottom are an elongated one, another size, and then both sides are an elongated rectangle churn dash, a third size. But that part is complete, and the voting was done on Friday and the first part of Saturday for what will be the third round. And that vote came in as the hourglass block. So I'm ahead of schedule for next week. Awesome. I love when that happens. But I have already designed using the hourglass blocks. We're just going to do that real quickly so you get a little bit of a hint one more time of the third round to come in that. But it is designed. I have chosen the fabrics out of the stash for that, and am ready to get those cut out and start piecing on that tomorrow or the next day. And then also I was showing you an idea for a quick and easy charity quilt that is a variation of a tumbler quilt, which a lot of us have scrappy strips, and a lot of us, at least I know I do, are familiar with Fabric Addiction 1, and she sells scrap strip bundles by the pound. So I came up with a way to use those scrappy strips and piece them together and then use them to make scrappy tumblers. And I got enough done to put 2 rows of the quilt so far together. It will have borders that is set 8 across and 10 down, and then it has an inner border and an outer border. But I have 2 rows of that complete, and then I also, in my little container here, you know how I am with my containers and everything organized, ready to go. I have these stack of tumblers already cut from the strips that I've made 2 different ways, going the regular horizontal way, and then we have some cut the vertical way for a change. And I also have some out of the plain squares so that we can add a pop of color that way. And I have all these strips trimmed and in a stack to just take from on the side of my sewing machine while I'm sewing the strips together. And one little thing that I did to make it easier for myself that I wanted to share with you, I normally would leave it for my tip demo Wednesday, but I decided I would show that early and probably go over it again in tip demo Wednesday. But we are using this little tumbler And you can get that from Missouri Star Quilt. You can also get them, I know, on Amazon. Different resources have them. But in using that tumbler, when you lay it down to cut, you are laying it on your square and you are just cutting up those two sides. While you don't want to move that. So what I came up with, instead of having to use a larger rotating mat, I took and I cut a mat out of an old section of a rotary cutting mat that I no longer use. It's old. It was a little one, you know, narrow one that wasn't really a size that I used much at all. So I took and cut it down. I think I cut it to 6 by 6. Well, no, it's a rectangle. So, but it's close to that. Just a little bit larger than what the 5-inch template is. So you have room to lay that on there nicely. And then all you have to do is pick up and turn the entire mat to cut the other side. Really made it a lot quicker work, a lot easier. And I think if you have an old mat laying around, you will find this a great resource for many quilts that you cut. And I also, in addition to that one, while I was cutting them, I wasn't sure what size I was going to like using and whatever, but I had this old worn out mat too, so I cut myself one that is 12.5 by 12.5 to use for other projects. And I will use that to just be able to pick up and turn and rotate my pieces when I'm cutting. So a great tip added in there for you all. And then the third thing, which I almost forgot, but that's down in here. And I did have the scarf for the Love and Kindness scarf is completed, by the way. And I did have it on and wore it the other day, but since then I have decided that I am going to, and I'm going to see if I can get this back on without it falling down, since I undid my no, string hanging there, my ends there. But this is kind of how you end up wearing it as an infinity scarf. You can get it on better when your ends are joined together, but like I said, I took that apart on the ends where I had joined it because I decided that I'm going to make this one into the wrap size instead. But this is what it looks like when you wear it as an infinity scarf. And you can see that I did complete it, and this is what the width pattern looks like. So completed that, got that finished. And I will be working on making that into the wrap width instead this week. Slide that back down there. Sorry, almost forgot about that one. And then the next thing, and I've been really enjoying working on this little project, which some of you saw this in one of the lives earlier. It was on the Monday Stitch Talk live, and it is this little needle book that I started. I was just working on this square at that time, hand quilting it to go on the front of the needle book. I have completed that. I have it pinned. It's not sewn down yet, but I have the antique buttons sewn onto that, the lace trim, and I'm thinking of I've got some lace trim added up there also. But I'm thinking of putting in embroidery work, a little saying up in this section. Haven't decided for sure yet. But I also have a button on the back, which isn't that cute? An antique button with a poodle on it. And it's actually a pinkish color. It's looking like it's red there, but it's a really dark rosy pink. And I have a ribbon attached on that back button, so that is what I use to close the needle book. And we're going to look through and see what I have added so far. A lot of this is pinned on at the moment because it's not sewn down, but here we have a pocket that I added from an heirloom handkerchief. It is folded so that I'm ending up with three pockets on each side that I stitched down the middle to make that. And inside there you can see that you can find free printables on Pinterest. And I found these cute little sewing themed tags that I put in there because I thought those would be really nifty to be able to wrap some of your threads or floss around and keep in there. So that's tucked in that pocket, and this is just another interesting one that was printed off from a free printable, and that is stuck in one of the other pockets to be able to use. And then on this side, excuse me, I will show you as I go along some of the things that I used for doing this. Oh, there it is. They were in order, but of course got out of order a little bit. But on this side, I have stamped with distressed ink. You can see those are 3 spools of thread there. And then the little saying says, hanging by a thread, I'll pull you through. And those pins are just holding that on right now, but these are decorative spool head pins that I am going to leave on with that. And I used these itty bitty stamps from Unity Stamp Company, but that is what I used to stamp that onto just the random fabric from my scraps. I just pulled some out, and that is what I used, and then cut it out actually with my scalloped blade Rotary Cutter, just freehand. So, but that will be attached and embellished on that page. And then when we go to the next page, we have a little pocket that's being added here, a needle minder, and for when you're traveling with your needle book, a packet of a tea bag, so you can have your tea if you're on the go stitching with other ladies someplace. And then again, this is a thimble and a needle and thread that I used the distressed ink and also printed on some fabric that will be embellished on there. And on this section we have a thing to hold our specialty needles in. We have some more pins. This time they are cute little button head pins. And as we turn the next page, don't have anything on that one yet, haven't decided, but on this one, that scissors is weighing that down a little. We'll try and hold that up better. On this one we have a double pocket. It's actually 4 pockets because the lace on front makes a pocket also, and that one is just the right size for holding your little scissors. Get that back down in there, and this is a cute little needle threader in that pocket. And then on to the next page, and I knew those scissors were going to fall out. We'll pick those up later. But this is the other half of the antique handkerchief you see on this. It was just sewn in when I sewed down the middle for the wool pages here. But it also has the pockets, and I have stored extra needles in that. There's a little, this is actually a magnet so that it'll hold your pins and needles. And then I have used the distressed ink, and that says stitched with love. And we have a little charm here that says made with love. And then just the back, all we have on that right now is the button and some lace trim, but there'll be some other things going on there. And I will be adding embroidery work and some other embellishments. But there you have what I have been able to do so far this week on the little, what I'm calling simple, easy needle book. And how I started out with that, I thought I'd share with you. These are just my notes for how I start out on a project when I'm making it. just rough drawing ideas that are in my head and few measurements, and then I'm off to looking through my various items and everything that I have, pulling things and putting into my little container that I think that I might use, which this is the fabric that I started off with, and I tea-dyed it to make it look older and more vintage for that block that I made for on the front. And then everything, which I already pulled some of that out, and of course I've used some, but these are the distress inks that I'm talking about that I used, and they are from Tim Holtz. But yeah, everything in there that I use and need. And the magnet that you saw that is on there is actually glued down to the fabric with this fabric fix glue from Beacon. And that is what I used for that. So that is pretty much everything that I have worked on in the Stitching Cottage this week. I, of course, have worked on some things that don't have to do with stitching and planning and organizing and that type of thing, but those are the things that you don't get to see what goes on behind the scenes in the Stitching Cottage, and I like to share every week with what I was able to get done. And then, of course, we have mail call every week, and happy to report there wasn't much mail this week. That means I didn't spend and order as much. Always good when that happens. But I do have my favorite needles that I use, and the resource that I use for those, which I like to share with others because they have other things and all kinds of needles, and they also carry the thimbles that I use. But it is Colonial Needle Company. I will leave the link in the description box below, and they are located in White Plains, New York. And I want to give a shout out to them because I ordered these late in the early evening, actually, on January 15th, and received them already in the mail on the 18th. It was either that, yeah, it was the 18th or the 19th. Very, very, very quick. But what I use that I order from them there are the S. Thomas and Sons, are the quilting needles, and the yeah, it's the two different sizes on the quilting needles that I love and use. So I got several packages of those that will last me quite a while, and maybe at some point might share some with some lucky person in a random gift bag. You never know, but extras there. But I got those, and then the other thing that I did order, I have seen so many use, and I saw Debbie again using from in Quilt Effect, using the Martelli Rotary Cutter, and I have always balked at getting one of these because I thought, no, that looks so awkward. I don't think that I would really like it, enjoy using it. And in just the short couple days that I have been using it, I think it's going to be a game changer. So far, this has a thumbs up from me. It is very, very easy on the hands, but I will give a further report on that when I've had a chance to use it a little longer. But so far, really loving it. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but not bad. And since I've been working on the scrappy strip sets, it's like I don't feel bad if I make a little oops. It's not, you know, not a real major like, oh no, I'm not going to have enough fabric for whatever quilt I was cutting out of limited fabrics. So a great project to start off with, using that cutter and getting used to it. So that is what I have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope that like I said, if I inspire just one person in any way to be able to enjoy their stitching, quilting, or start stitching or quilting, that is what I love to do and what I hope to get out of sharing everything that has to do with stitching and quilting with you in my Stitching Cottage every week on my week in review and also on the lives that I do on Monday and Fridays and my tip demo Wednesdays. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy stitching. And remember, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.